So I like to play around with Photoshop and stuff. And one of the things I did some time ago was to do this Photoshop of, at the time, most of the DC characters that are being portrayed in film and television. And then a few others that I just threw in that haven't actually been performed yet. That being the Spectre and the Anti-Monitor and Darkseid. We almost had Darkseid, as we now know, because of Zack Snyder teasing out images from his cut, which hopefully one day we'll get to see. I don't know. Just the idea, and of course I threw the Watchmen in, which interestingly enough was directed by Zack Snyder, which boy, just a slight little nod, and you could acknowledge that the Watchmen was in the same universe, or it was not in the same universe, but in the multiverse. And I thought that DC, should embrace the multiverse, which the DC Comics superheroes should own that, because they really introduced it with the Flash of Two Worlds, which is where Barry Allen meets Jay Garrick, the original Flash from the Golden Age. And they just said, well, those original stories took place in an alternate reality, and that became Earth 2, and Barry Allen, well, he was on Earth 1, and there you go. So that's how that began, and then it was one crossover after another and all that stuff. And then, I don't know, for some bizarre reason, they destroyed the whole thing at the end of the 80s in Crisis on Infinite Earths. The story in and of itself was cool, but the aftermath, well, I think it did more damage than good. But anyway, so CW had announced that they were going to do their own version of Crisis on Infinite Earths. They'd already introduced the Monitor, and boy, he really looked the part. He had the suit, looked pretty much like the Monitor and everything, although he's presented more as a villain in this version than he was in the comics, although it was always kind of, well, was he a good guy or not? And then at the end, yeah, I guess he was. He was trying to save the multiverse and all that. But with this new crossover coming, which will probably be the end, because we know that Arrow, the series, is coming to an end, and so he'll probably have to sacrifice himself to save the multiverse or something in this version of the story. But the interesting thing about it is now they've pretty much let the cat out of the bag, that they will acknowledge their other properties, both current and in the past. Now, they already had the John Wesley Shipp Flash appear in the previous crossover. Not enough, in my opinion. He could have been there a lot more. But here we're probably going to get some cameos and stuff from other people. So Linda Carter will be back as Wonder Woman, so I'm guessing they'll have like a cameo there for her. Burt Ward will be Robin, and in his world, because sadly with Adam West having passed away, that Batman will also have died, but Robin lives on in that version of the DC world. And then of course Brandon Routh will return as Superman, the Superman he played in Superman Returns, where he was supposed to be continuing the Christopher Reeve version of Superman. But here they're saying he's going to be the Kingdom Come version of Superman, which means I guess he'll have the black and red emblem on his chest when he appears. And so there you go with that. And then also the DCEU characters will make an appearance, meaning probably footage from the films will be shown at some point. You can imagine like the Flash getting to see snippets of other universes, which he's done before in the series, where he's going through the Speed Force or something like that. And they even had footage from the original Flash show with John Wesley Shipp and all that. And so you can imagine something like that, and you would see Henry Cavill's Superman flying around, and maybe Wonder Woman and stuff like that, and Aquaman in those scenes. And that'd probably be, all of it. I mean, it's unlikely that any of them would appear in person, in costume, on the television show. The one possibility, and this is a stretch, is maybe Ezra Miller's Flash might show up. Now, before, when he was cast and stuff, he said, "Yeah, wouldn't it be cool if they did some kind of crossover like that, in that it's just the multiverse?" And he seems to be really big on the multiverse idea, even for his film, if they ever do the Flash film, and he wants to pursue that storyline. So maybe that could have, I doubt it, but there you go. But still, it's just the idea. It's very simple. And this announcement of it, I didn't know about it until Cosmic Book News, which is a site I frequent often for this thing, and Matt McCloyne saying he's hearing all this, and that there was some sort of legalese to deal with for the WB lawyers. And I thought that was rather odd. Warner's owns all of this, and I don't know if it's because of the movies, but it's their movie. The division of the movies is theirs as well, so it's a little odd. So it would seem like it wouldn't be that big of a deal to have just footage from the. But then I guess because it's contracted to the different companies that produce the films, like Zack Snyder's company, and then. But I don't know. I don't know if with Suicide Squad, but whatever it is, maybe that's the deal, that they gotta smooth that out. But all in all, it's a neat idea, and I would hope that the movies would show and look to some storyline that at least acknowledge it, and probably the Flash would be one that would do it. Before Marvel scoops them again. Now, Marvel has teased the multiverse, but they never really did it. I guess technically you could say they did with Endgame, but that's like, the alternate timelines and stuff that happened in that film. But then it was teased that, the multiverse will be explored in the Spider-Man movie. It wasn't. It was just a lie from Mysterio. But now, with their announcement of their upcoming movies, that Doctor Strange will be about the multiverse, so they might finally get to it if DC just can't get their act together. It seems like they could delve into that, which is a concept that they really built the foundation on, and they're just not exploiting it. But here, for their TV shows, they will. So, yes, Linda Carter and Burt Ward make appearances. And also, apparently, the characters from the Titans series. So, that they'll make an appearance. Of course, no one knows what all that will entail. But, so there you go. Now, the crossovers have pretty much been pretty bad. The last one, it started off kind of interesting, and then as it went on, it fizzled very badly. So I'm not optimistic in it being all that great of a story. You would think it would try to make it pretty good if it's going to be Arrow's send-off. But the concept in and of itself is interesting and fascinating, and it's just one of those things where they could acknowledge it and to not get so panicky about it, especially when earlier on, when Deathstroke was supposed to be in Justice League. I guess he was at the tail end briefly, and then also in Ben Affleck's Batman movie, and then all that went to crap. But at the time, they forced the Arrow series to take Deathstroke out. They couldn't use him anymore. He was a very pivotal character there. And it's just why. It's just acknowledge the multiverse. It's a part of DC Comics. It's been a part of its story, even when they tried to destroy it. So there you go. So that's an interesting thing to do, and it's nice to see them do it. I'm not all that hopeful that it'll be this, this awesome series. No, not really. The only show I like from the CW is The Flash, and that's about it. So we'll see what they do, and it's a nice little cute thing to do for their fans and whatnot, especially DC fans who certainly understand this concept. The other news is J.J. Abrams will now be pretty much the master of all things DC. Apparently, also from Comics Cosmic Book News, that he's going to take over Superman and Green Lantern. A lot of people expected Green Lantern and Superman. They weren't sure. This is almost more than likely bad news after but not everything with Star Wars is his fault. But boy, in Star Trek, at least his crew out of Bad Robot and whatnot. What they did to Star Trek is just unconscionable. It's just absolutely awful. And what he did one good movie, the first one, and then just, I don't know, was lazy for the second one. And I'd heard stories he didn't really want to do it, and probably shouldn't have. But that was just god-awful. And his script for Superman, when he was pitching a Superman movie way back when, is just horrible. And if he tries to bring that back, oh my God, that would, because the story is he wants to recast Superman. He wants a younger guy to play him, even though Henry Cavill, he's probably close to the same age as Robert Pattinson, but the idea is to recast younger characters and to move away from what Snyder established. And but Cavill is this guy that you think, boy, he's ready to do a good Superman movie. They just won't give him one. And I guess the clock is ticking on that. And if Abrams doesn't want him, then that's it. And you say, well, but there's a huge fan following. Yeah, but I don't think he's going to care. And then there's all the machinations with his wife being a part of Time's Up and getting Ann Sarnoff as the head of Warner Brothers, that kind of thing, where you exploit and utilize, outrage and fear over sexual exploitations and, rapes even, and harassment. That's really sleazy, I mean, no fan of Sugihara, but the guy had an affair. That's about it. I mean, he's not Weinstein or any of that. So and to find out that it's this kind of manipulation going on, where, well, we got our friend in play there, and now we can come in and, and I don't know. But if he comes up with some good ideas, hey, everybody wins. But I'm dubious, because he hasn't really done anything great since Star Trek 2009. That's it. Everything else just seems to just collapse into ruin. And so I hope that I don't want to see Superman fly by. I really don't want to see anything like that. So it doesn't look good. Doesn't look good. But let's hope I'm wrong about that. So there you go. I just thought I would discuss this. This is an interesting thing about the DC universe, multiverse being displayed on television, at least on television, and we'll see how that turns out. As for J.J. Abrams, well, there again, we'll just have to wait and see. So anyway, thanks for watching and listening. Please like and subscribe, and check out the link description below. That'll take you to my many stores that have plenty of goodies for you.